Welcome to the next episode of Take a Break.
Take a break. Keep the whole world guessing. Take a break from the human race. Take a break when it gets depressing. Take a break.
Pat Armistead is a voice for all that is joyful. In this series, she brings a fresh approach to emerging consciousness. Through conversational, social and emotional intelligence, she and her guests explore new models of leadership that embrace humour, empathy and compassion.
It's my great pleasure today to bring into your radius a colleague and friend, Rowie McEvoy. Rowie is the founder and director of Max Fitness International, and I met Rowie on the 7th of the 8th, 2013, and I think it was about 6 p.m. And we went to air about 7. And I've remained connected and thoroughly enjoyed your emails, the verbal messages that you send out, and the consistency of those messages. And my prompt today to reconnect with you is the current viral episode that's occurring. And
the corona correction, I call it. The corona correction. The world needs to be corrected, so it's come along.
Yes, exactly. And, you know, one of the things that I'd like us to discuss is, you know, the positive psychology elements, and choice of language is another thing, which you've just brought to the surface. So,
and we get to choose, don't we? We actually get to choose what we say and the words that we use, which means we then get to choose what we think. Isn't that awesome? Yes. So I shall interrupt you just for 1 second, shall I?
Yes.
It goes like this, because I'm not sure what day it is, because I'm in New Zealand and we're in full lockdown. Nobody can leave their house. So I'm not really sure what day it is. So it goes like this. May your Mondays be magical. May your Tuesdays be terrific. May your Wednesdays be very wow. And your Thursdays be thankful. May your Fridays be a fun day. May your Saturdays be super. May your Sundays be sparkly, because you choose them to be. With the most important part of that song being, you choose them to be. You get to choose what kind of day you're going to have, regardless. Yes. That's why I'm here, because I love you. My favourite joyologist.
You sang that on the radio too, all those years back.
But I sing it every day because it's my system for being happy. When people say, how are you today? And if it's wow day, well, how do you think I am? It's wow day. I'm wow. Thankful day. How do you think I am? Well, it's thankful day. I've got a bazillion things to be thankful for. How about you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm a passionate believer in vocabulary. We get to choose our words, and we get to choose and that then determines how we act and how we think and everything about our life is determined by our words. Yeah. So I'm very, very aware of that.
Yeah. So you've been on this, it's been a fitness journey, but it's been more than that, and pretty much all your life. Am I correct?
Yes. I had my brother's girlfriend when I was 10 years of age, and my brother is 11 years older than me. His girlfriend said to me, Rowie, you're getting fat. And I was 10. And she was correct. So from that day forward, I started exercising. I'm now well over 50, and I have never missed a day of exercise since I was 10. And I'm a firm believer, again, that who you are and what you do should be the same thing. So when I call myself an exercise professional, that's because I'm a professional who inspires people to exercise. That's what I do, but it's also who I am. And I'd love that for everybody. Like, I'm not a lawyer or a doctor or a musician. It's who I am. It's not what I do.
Yes.
I think then it's pretty easy to be happy. What do you reckon?
Yeah. So it's come into my arena this last few months that a lot of people find it really hard, or seem to find it hard, to attain some positivity, let alone sustain it. So you have some gems there for how you've been able to do that.
Well, we were talking about being an ologist, and you are a joyologist. I go straight with the physiology. So if I was a physiologist, I would explain happiness in a completely different way, which is it's a chemical response in your brain. Literally, the only reason you can feel happy is if you get that physical pumping of happy drugs into your brain. Now, most people, obviously, we all get stress, whether it's personal or worldwide or local, or it's a natural disaster, or it's a worldwide coronavirus, or it's a relationship breakup. So we all have stress in our lives. As you know, we then produce cortisol, which is a really good thing. Most people are scared of stress, but your body wants to survive. So when you get stressed, your body produces cortisol, which forces you to either run away from the wild animal, so it doesn't eat you, it wants to survive, or you stop and kill the animal, which now you feel really good because you've killed the animal, killed the threat, dispersed the cortisol, and now your body fills up with dopamine, happy drug, serotonin levels are even, you've got endorphins in your brain, and most importantly, brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is a fertilizer for your brain. Now, your brain doesn't understand happiness or sadness from normal challenges in the world right now. It just says, we're under threat, let's run, or we're under threat, let's fight. That's all it knows how to do. Yeah. So it's really easy to be happy when you pump happy drugs into your brain, but you've got to pump them in there. And most people will take drugs, drink alcohol, eat food, go gamble, anything to create those happy drugs, or they'll take an antidepressant, which produces a fake form of those happy drugs with major side effects, like terrible, terrible side effects. But when you're fit and when you're strong, you get that same dopamine rush, the same endorphin rush, the same brain-derived neurotropic factor rush without the major side effects. So when people say to me, Rowie, how can you be happy all the time? It's really easy. I just get puffed 3 times an hour. Every 20 minutes, I get up, going, and I sprint on the spot, punch a bag, run up some stairs, do some push-ups, and then I pump happy drugs into my brain, disperse the cortisol, and now I'm happy all the time. How cool is that? It's pretty easy. How's that for a gym? Every 3, and I'll put my 3 fingers up here, 3 times an hour, 3 times an hour, 3 times an hour. Just sprint on the spot, do some push-ups, just get puffed. And only for 10 seconds. You don't need very long. You've just got to disperse the cortisol. The second big tip I've got, of course, is the words that you use. If somebody says to you, Rowie, how are you? And I say, not too bad, wish it was Friday. I'm going to feel really crappy. If I say, it's Fun Day Friday, I'm awesome, how are you? It's not even the words that I share with you. It's the words that I'm sharing with my own brain. Women are classics for this. They get out of bed and say, oh, I'm so fat. And they look in the mirror and say, I'm so fat. Well, your brain, what it's going to do with that? It's just going to get sad. If you say to yourself, oh, I'm amazing, I'm fantastic, and isn't it awesome, I can eat as much as I want to in a country where there's a load of food, I've got different words going into my brain. So I strongly, passionately profess, like a preacher, that you get to pick your own words. If you say that you feel crap, you will feel crap. There's no doubt about it. It doesn't matter what's going on around you. If you say, oh, I feel awesome, your brain just says, all right, well, what are we going to do to feel awesome? So the words are really important. So get puffed, change your words, and then who are you hanging out with? And it's not just the people that you hang out with. It's, are you watching the news? And I'll use the example, somebody said to me, Rowie, you're an exercise expert. How do you avoid getting the coronavirus? And I said, well, if you don't want to get infected with the coronavirus, throw your television out the window. Get rid of the news, because the news is over dramatized. It's exaggerated to scare people and to frighten people so that we watch the news. So the information that we're receiving via the news channels, it's not the truth. It's an exaggerated form of the truth, which scares the crap out of people. Don't listen to it. Create your own reality. What do you reckon? My favourite joyologist.
Exactly. See, I had a client who I probably hadn't talked to for over 10 years. And we connected again recently online. And he said, you know, I want to share something with you. He said, I wouldn't have said this way back, but when I first saw what you were doing, he said, I thought you were weird. I couldn't believe that you were, you know, this happy, joyful thing. And he said, he said, I thought it was naff, really naff. And I really got his space then. when he shared that. It's like, oh my goodness. So what's your experience been that you look out and think, whoa, weird? You know, so that the disparity, he doesn't view you in the same way.
Question.
Yeah.
If you ask people, what do you want with your life? What do you want from life? Nobody says to me, I want to be upset, I want to be angry, I want to be frustrated, I want to be depressed, I want to be unhappy, I want to have a crappy job, I want to have no money, I want to have shit relationships, and have a terrible life. Nobody ever says that. Everybody wants to be happy. But when you talk about happiness as a science even, people think it's a bit weird. I find that fascinating because I'm with you. People say, oh, Rowie's that happy lady. You can't be happy all the time. I get accused of being obnoxiously happy and ridiculously happy and unrealistically happy. And I always ask the question, but don't you want to be happy? And if there was a way to be happy every single day, wouldn't you want to find out what that was? Or do you want to be miserable every day? I don't get that. I don't want to be miserable, so I choose not to be. How about you, joyologist?
And look, I think like my conscious journey through that began when I was nursing, and I wasn't as conscious then as I am now, but I would arrive and my natural impish self would deliver every day in the safety parameters. I spent time in matron's office because sometimes they were naughty, naughty things to do to patients. However, I consistently showed up in that fashion, being safe.
Wow.
And when I look, and one man in particular was in hospital actually for the whole duration of my general nurse training, 3 years. I went home for the odd weekend. He had 35 broken bones, and when he came in, they said, he's not going to make it. And then conversation changed after some hours, and they said, well, we'll risk taking him to theatre, but he might die on the table. So he didn't die on the table, and conversation as they took him back to recovery was, you know, he'll probably be a vegetable. So this man, despite of his 35 broken bones and other injuries, woke up in recovery and revealed indeed he's not a vegetable. And so the conversation changed again. And they said, well, he'll never walk again. So many surgeries. 3 years later, he walked on 2 sticks to my graduation ceremony and stood up.
Oh, wow. Right, so I'll give you the expert's view on that. This is quite, you know how we, because I'm sure you believe this too, we attract people into our life at the right time, it seems.
Yes.
I was going through customs in Melbourne Airport in Australia, and there was a guy in front of me who had beautiful shoes on, and I'm a fan of great shoes. So I said, wow, you have gorgeous shoes. And he said, I have to have good shoes. I'm presenting at a conference here, at an international conference in Melbourne. I said, tell me about that. And he was a brain surgeon. You know, when we talk about it's not brain surgery, well, he was a brain surgeon. And as a neurosurgeon, he was presenting to other neurosurgeons from around the world. So I'm pretty excited now. So I said, tell me about that. I've been studying the brain since my father died of Alzheimer's. So I was really interested in this guy. And he said, well, what I'm going to be talking about at this international conference, most people are going to say that I'm full of shit. And that was his quote, not mine. And I said, well, tell me about that. And he said, as a neurosurgeon, we have to stop telling patients that they're never going to walk again because too many of our own patients have proved us wrong. Woohoo! And that was the topic of his talk at the conference. He said, medically, we don't understand how powerful the brain is. And if somebody wants something, they can force that their brain is far more powerful. The neurological pathways of the brain are far more powerful. And that's why I think words are so important, because if you tell yourself you can't, you definitely can't. But if you tell yourself you can, your brain will find a way for you to do it. That excites the hell out of me. Woohoo!
A phrase I love to use is, what else is possible?
Yes.
You know, because that opens up. Sometimes you don't necessarily have the answer or the exact answer. You're still kind of scanning. But when you ask that, then something will come into your radar. I did.
I absolutely passionately agree with you. When people say it can't be done, I always say, well, what if it can? What if it can?
I learned from John DeMartini. I did his breakthrough experience years ago, and I left those 4 days, and consistently since then, challenge still arrives from time to time in my life.
Of course.
But,
isn't that exciting?
Okay, immediately alongside it comes support, and they're really close. Like the window of time is very, very small. And in the past, I wasn't measuring it, but I'm really appreciating, that wasn't my experience. I would wait a little while for something to come in, and now I see it. So challenge and support, paradox, synchronicity, there they are. So, and that's just all been about.
And how about adding another word, opportunity? With every challenge comes a major opportunity. And as a businesswoman, I'll share that with you because I obviously have a business college. And I have students from, at the moment, 18 countries from around the world. And when it comes to the fitness profession, exercise professionals have been shut down. And it's been so exciting to watch overnight, literally, how the visionaries have just put their business online, like immediately. And they've turned this major challenge into a major opportunity. And if you look in your local area or if you look worldwide, there are businesses now that are booming because of this challenge. And even if a business has gone broke or it's going to go broke or it's majorly challenged, the visionary in that company is already thinking, how do we do it differently? How can we change? How can we step up? And I'll use my profession as an example. There are people who would never go to a gym or never go to a personal training studio, but that personal training studio, that gym is now online. So they're now getting to people that would never walk through their doors ever. And they may never because they're in Greenland or Germany, but they're exercising every day because they've put their business online. And that's the really exciting thing. It's the challenge, then comes the opportunity. And there's always major opportunity. So if you just have to look for it. If you look for the crappy stuff, you'll find it. But if you look for the opportunity, you'll always find it.
Yes. I presented in the year 2000 in New Zealand at a conference called Be the Change. And it's the first conference I've ever spoken at where there was no agenda. There were 17 speakers and the day was just allowed to unfold. And I'm really getting now, for me, this is a change I've been preparing for. There's like 20 years of preparation, amassing, great bundles of knowledge and wisdom, so many experiences, like so many stories up here, little drawers. And they've now, I think, reached their peak usefulness time. It's like there can be this huge outflow now to be that voice. And to do it with a considerable level of authority.
That sounds great. I have a considerable level of authority on how to be happy. But like you and I, I'll say this because people say to me, Rowie, how old are you? And I say, I'm 120. I look good for my age. You and I are both not 21 anymore. And my husband and I, we literally sat down in this corona correction, as we're calling it, because a lot of things will be much better after this process. And I use a different example. We went through the Christchurch earthquake. We had a college in Christchurch. And I said very soon afterwards, this is because I can't control Mother Nature. I can't control challenges, but you can respond or react to them, as you know. And I said, there's going to come a time when the Christchurch earthquake was the best thing that ever happened to Christchurch, because the people will be tougher and stronger and wiser and better. And that, of course, is the case. And I believe that's going to happen with this as well. But you and I know, and we worked out, Cayman and I, that it's in our lifetime 7 times there's been a major worldwide disaster challenge, whether it's been the AIDS virus, whether it was 9/11, the global financial crisis, SARS, swine flu. There's been a stack of them. It's just that we didn't have social media to blow them out of complete proportion when those things happened. But every single one of those has created stronger, better human beings. So I always use the example, some people die, and we're all going to die. So that's, there's nothing to be upset about. We're all going to die. It's how we live that's important. So you either die, you survive, or you thrive. And is that a choice? And I'd like to believe that is actually a choice. If you decide I'm going to thrive through this challenge and find every opportunity, then of course you will. Your brain will find a way for you to do it, and you'll actually do it. And people do every single time, haven't they? My favourite joyologist. Every challenge, there's been people who've become better and stronger and wiser because of it.
Yeah.
Woo!
And since 1995, there's been some very wise people come forward. We had Madan Kataria, Laughter Yoga, Martin Seligman, Positive Psychology. There was a big shift there.
Yes.
Professor Howard Gardner, Theories of Multiple Intelligence. We're not just IQ. Daniel Goleman, Emotional Intelligence, and others. But they were kind of key figures for the big shift, I think. And that's just opened up a new awareness. You know, we had a very depressed model of mental health and mental well-being prior to that. And now there's this huge shift, and there's been, some integration, but here's the opportunity to really step into it, because we know too much now to not.
Yeah.
I think,
So let's start. That group of people that you just talked about, first of all, I just want to say congratulations, because most people don't do that kind of research. For the people who don't know who Pat's just talked about, these are the happy ologists in the world. These are the scientists that study happiness. That weird stuff about being happy. Well, they're actually the scientists of it, which is mind-blowing. And if you, as I was sharing before, if you connect the physiology with the psychology, the reason I know the names of all those people is that my father died of Alzheimer's. So my father could speak 7 languages fluently. He could quote the Bible verbatim. He was one of the smartest men on the planet. And as he got more mature, we get into this headspace that if you're old, you must be getting old. So he would walk into a room and he'd forget what he was doing. So my mum thinks I must have Alzheimer's. Now, I don't know about you, but I often walk into a room and don't remember what I'm doing, and I don't think you have to be 100 for that to be the case. But what happens is he got diagnosed then, so they take him to the doctor, and the doctor looks at his age and says, yeah, well, this man's over 80, so he must be getting Alzheimer's. So they put him in a aged care facility, aged. You tell somebody that they're old, they're going to get old pretty quickly. And a guy who was literally capable of quoting the Bible verbatim is now in a room with no brain stimulus. Yeah. Well, that's just crazy. Now, my father died before 1999. All the guys that you talked about, they all started studying Alzheimer's and dementia in the brain because they, like me, as an exercise professional, I said, if you can grow bones, muscles, every cell in your body can regrow, why can't you regrow your brain cells? Because up until 1999, they said that you couldn't. Yeah. Well, now we know that neurogenesis is possible, and you can replace all of your brain cells and grow more. And guess what? When you puff and lift heavy things, they grow really fast because you push that brain-derived neurotrophic factor into your brain. And when you're learning and you're laughing, you pump your brain full of brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So if you laugh, you lift, you huff, you puff, and you learn, you never have to get old. You and I will be having this conversation when we're 150 going, look at us, we're so young. And Pat, last year, 2019, I wanted to study old. I wanted to find out why is it there are people who get old really fast and there's other people who stay young for a long time. So I went to the blue zone. We went to Sardinia in Italy. So there's three blue zones. One is Okinawa in Japan. One is the high mountains in Peru, and the other one is Sardinia. Now, the challenge I have is that I love food, and I'm not a big fan of the Japanese food because I don't know what it is. And to try and motivate people to eat Japanese food when they look at it and go, well, what is that weird stuff? That was a bit hard. Same with Peru, because they're up in the mountains. They're more vegan vegetarians than anything. But Italy, as we know, has pasta and bread and wine and gelati, and so off we went to Sardinia. We were there for 2 weeks, and these are the oldest people in the world over the age of 100 who are living with great quality of life after the age of 100. So I want to share with you my favorite experience while we were there. By translation, I talked to a guy who was 103. He was still an olive farmer. He worked every day, 7 days, didn't have a holiday, had never been out of his village, by the way. When I met him, he was with his mates at the end of the day, and they were having a glass of wine and a cigar and about to eat a big bowl of pasta. And when I say a big bowl, nothing in Italy in a village is big. It's just a really nice meal. And via translation, he says to the translator, tell this lady she's very pretty, but I'm going home to make love to my wife. He was 103. So what a perfect example. When you are active, when you are positive, when you enjoy your food, you enjoy your life, you don't have to get old. So we will be having this conversation when we're over 100. It'll be awesome.
Yes. And there's a lot of Seligman's work, did a lot of research into a whole range of areas, and they tracked nuns. And
yes,
I don't know if you remember that story. And
yes,
nuns of lesser faith, nuns who doubted a little bit, didn't live, like it was a long study, didn't live the long and like healthy life that those who had complete faith.
exactly right.
It was incredible. I forget, 20-year time frame he tracked it.
So how about this? How much do you reckon that passion, some people would call it purpose, those brain experts would say that people who have a purpose don't get depressed. People who wake up in the morning and they've got a purpose to get up, they don't get depressed. But I'm even more, I like the word passion better, because now you're not just getting up because you've got something to do, but you're getting up because you want to do it. You're really excited about doing it. I'm passionate about. People say, Rowie, what do you respect most in people? And for me, it's passion. I don't care whether people are passionate about knitting or gardening or climbing mountains. I just love passion in people, because I think that's what keeps you alive and excited.
Yes.
Woo! So go the nuns, the passionate nuns who are absolutely convicted to their faith. Wow. Yeah.
I remember I've had a few years in my life, a few periods in my life where I've been like really accelerated, growth in my business, and it's been exactly around being able to fulfill on that, and just like there was a knowing.
Yeah.
When I discovered Joyology, it was like, this is my life calling. It's now got a name, but I've been doing this all my life. Now I can take the compassion that I developed during my nursing years, the creativity when I was working in film, and now I can serve humanity. And what a raft of, threads of skill I can bring to that in a whole range of ways. And one of my visions is to support people to be fully self-expressed. And a lot of people are constrained. They're polite. So they're not giving vent to, this is joy. The countenance that we're holding at the moment is joy. It's joyful expression.
So I'll put this into a little bit more layman's terms. I ran away from home when I was just under 15, and I ran to a very exclusive suburb of Sydney called Campbelltown, which is known as a low socioeconomic area, and successful people don't usually come out of Campbelltown. And people told me, you can't be successful and you can't have a successful business, etc., because you're from Campbelltown. And interestingly, I'll put it in Campbelltown terms. If you can stop giving a shit what other people think, you'll probably be much happier. I really believe if you just do what you are excited about and not care what other people think, then life will be so much better. And you just said it beautifully. For instance, if you're dancing, why do we care what other people think? If we're singing, why do we care what other people think? So we control ourselves in this little box because we want to please other people, or what is it? I don't get it, and I just love watching people who don't care. So that's my Campbelltown terminology. Stop giving a shit what other people think.
I know Campbelltown. I was brought up in Camden, just down the road.
Wow. Oh, there you go. We're like sisters, really. Very cool.
And the whole thing of, your past is not your future.
Yeah.
Things can happen in life, and it might take you. You might have some spiral downs, but we're informed through that. Eckhart Tolle is a perfect example. He had that whoop. However, look at the wisdom and the ongoing wisdom that has come from that. He was so informed by that period. So that's not to suggest we all want that elongated.
No, there's an interesting question there, though. Have you found in your many years of experience, even with nursing, that the people who end up the highest and most successful are the ones that have had the lowest? It seems that average and ordinary could be the biggest disease challenge, because if you just stick with ordinary and average, it's like the biggest, what's that quote? The greatest, what is it? You'll know it. The biggest challenge with excellence is being good. Oh, that's right. The biggest, oh, come on, Rowie. See, now, if there was a person diagnosing Alzheimer's or dementia, they'd say that Rowie's getting Alzheimer's. If you aim for average, that's what you'll get. It seems that the people who have the most successful and happy lives are the ones that have had the worst challenges in their life, and they've said, that's enough, I'm not living like this anymore.
Yeah.
But the greatest foundation for growth is to hit rock bottom. And if you've ever, everybody I know that's hit rock bottom that has a positive attitude has become the most successful people I know.
Yeah.
It's the people that have never had a challenge in their life that I get a bit concerned about, because they don't know how to handle them. That's a classic of what's happening now, because there's a lot of kids and teenagers right now who they really haven't had any major challenges in their life, and now they're really seriously challenged.
Yeah.
Those of us who've been around for a while, we say, well, this is just another one of those times, and let's get stronger and better and wiser because of it.
Yes. A lot of my teachings has been over this last 20 years to demonstrate how to ride the roller coaster. And
yes,
I'm not a thrill seeker in that fashion, but to fully experience all of it.
Yes.
I think joy is that, really, in a way. I've often pondered this. The fact that we've got this full emotional range that we can express, and that we can be conscious of it and make.
But wouldn't it be boring if every day was happy, happy, la la, happy, happy, la la? You'd be bored to tears. How would you get stronger, tougher, and wiser if there was no challenges in your life?
Yeah.
There's a great tool, isn't it? When a challenge comes along like this one, isn't this exciting? Woohoo! How could I get stronger if it wasn't for this challenge?
Yes.
I use the diamond example all the time. Diamonds are produced under pressure. So that's why one of the reasons I really talk strongly about exercise. When you put your body under pressure, that's how you get fitter and stronger. That's how you turn your body into a diamond. Yeah. So if your life is not creating challenges for you, best you go create some so that you can overcome them, so you can become tougher and wiser and stronger. How's that? Ha
ha.
I've got another song.
Yes.
And this is how to be healthy, fit and strong and happy for the rest of your life in song form. And I share this obviously with small children in primary schools. It's an absolute joy, using your word, to watch teenagers sing this song, because, it's not cool to sing. But when I do it and I make an absolute idiot of myself and love doing it, they join in. And same as you, I speak at a lot of conferences and workshops and seminars, and to watch accountants and doctors and lawyers sing this song is pretty cool too. So the purpose of the song is to be happy, healthy, fit and strong for the rest of your life. You ready? So there's 5 verses. First verse, really easy, and you'll love this. Goes like this: be happy, be happy, be happy, be happy. So it's just 2 words. But most people, when they talk about being happy, it's about if and when. I'll be happy if. I'll be really happy when this whole corona thing's over. No, be happy now. Just demand of yourself every day. Just choose to be happy. The second verse is, drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. And obviously the physiology of that is your brain is 90% fluid, your muscles are 60 to 70% fluid. If you're dehydrated, obviously you're not going to be in great shape. So we often argue though about fluid, you know, should it be 8 glasses or 2 liters, or should it be from Fiji, or should it be filtrated, or should it be, it doesn't matter. Obviously, if you have yellow stinky tinkle, you need to drink some more water or eat some more food with fluid in it. So be happy, drink more water till you've got clear wheeze, drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. The third one's interesting because obviously you've got to put high performance fuel into a high performance body. But it's interesting because if you put high performance fuel into a wrecked car or a broken engine, it doesn't matter. The thing still won't go anywhere. But if you've got a high performance car, you have to put high performance fuel into it. So there's a lot of argument about food, but this never gets argued. Just eat more real food. So whether people are vegan, vegetarians, or carnivores, or anything in between, eat more real food, not stuff that comes in a packet or a bag or a jar or a building that you can drive through. Just eat more real food. So whether it grows in the ground or you eat the animal that eats the stuff that grows in the ground, but eat more real food. So eat more real food, eat more real food, eat more real food. That's the third verse. So first verse, be happy, and drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Eat more real food, eat more real food, eat more real food. And then the last 2 verses is obviously about exercise. But if you're fit and if you're strong, which means you can run away from the animal or fight the animal, so you can now handle stress. Fitness is simply about getting puffed, and that's why I always talk about 3 puffs an hour. And I'll give you the reason behind that, and you probably know this already. There's a lot of children on antidepressants. Many thousands of children now have been diagnosed as some form of mental challenge, mental illness, mentally unwell, so they put them on an antidepressant. One of the major side effects of an antidepressant is suicidal tendencies. It blows my mind that we would put kids on such toxic medicine. So I have 3 psychologists now, 2 in Australia, 1 in New Zealand. They've taken their kids off antidepressants, the drug, and they've put them onto antidepressant exercise, which every 20 minutes they have an alert on their phone or their watch. So it just goes bing, 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 bing. And every 20 minutes they have to get up and sprint on the spot for 10 to 15 seconds just to get really, really puffed, which of course pumps happy drugs through their brain. So because this is the 4th verse of the song, I just go, we could do 4 puffs an hour, which would be about every 15 minutes. Yeah. So just 4 puffs an hour. And it's only 10 seconds. So it's not like you're going to get sweaty or you've got to change your clothes. You just get up and sprint as hard as you can for 10 seconds and then go back to whatever you were doing. Now, these kids are getting major results. They're feeling better, they're more productive at school, they're sleeping better, the whole bit. So number 1, be happy. Number 2, drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Number 3, eat more real food, eat more real food, eat more real food. Number 4, 4 puffs an hour, 4 puffs an hour, 4 puffs an hour. And then the last one is be strong. And obviously, life is going to throw stuff at us. Now, no one really expected that we would have a major virus, I'm sure. No one expected that would go worldwide, but it has. So we have to be strong to handle it. And here's a great question. Who's more likely to get hit by a germ, bug, virus, or disease? Somebody who's weak and unhappy and unfit and eats low performance food and is miserable all the time? Or somebody who's positive, happy, strong, hydrated, full of high performance fuel, and their muscles and bones are really strong? But really interestingly, your immune system is created inside your bone marrow, and you as a nurse know that better than me. And when you lift heavy things, your muscles pull on your bones, so your bones get stronger, which means your bone marrow gets stronger, which means your immune system gets stronger. The challenge is that most people in the exercise profession have made lifting heavy things, weight training, really boring and really complicated. Well, here's the thing. If you pick something up off the ground and put it back down again, you use every muscle in your body. If you do it safely, or you hold it in close, you squat down, you pick it up, and you put it back down again. So a suitcase, a box, a log, a child, it doesn't matter. You will use every muscle in your body, every joint, every tendon, every ligament. Your muscles get strong, your bones get strong, your endocrine system gets strong because you're using all the muscles at the same time. Your central nervous system is firing, so you get really strong central nervous system, which means strong brain. But most importantly, right now, you get a strong immune system. So if you're really strong, your whole body will work together to turn you into a virus-fighting machine. Woo-hoo! So the last verse of the song is simply, be strong. Be strong, and hold your muscles up like this, and you go, be strong, be strong. So can you imagine? And the last time I did this with a large group was 1,000 high school students in Brisbane at the town hall. If you, because you're living there at the moment, if you haven't been in there, have you been in there to have a look at the town hall?
No.
Go and have a look in there. So the whole town hall was full of teenagers, and we sing this song, teachers and students, at the top of our voice. So 3 of each. You ready? Be happy, be happy, be happy, and drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Eat more real food, eat more real food, eat more real food. 4 puffs an hour, 4 puffs an hour, and be strong, be strong. Little kids love it, teenagers love it, doctors love to sing it. The urologists love that song the most because we're talking about long clear wheeze, so they think that's pretty awesome.
I shall have to share that with my GP.
Please. So that's my, those 2 songs. And when I finish chatting to teenagers or schools or teachers or wherever I'm chatting, I always put those 2 songs together. So it's the happy song for the days of the week, and then how do I have a fit, strong body for the rest of my life? And of course, now I used to say, turn your body into a fat burning machine, into a happy drug pumping machine. And now I've added into a virus fighting machine, because a fit, strong, healthy body is a virus fighting machine. How's that for some fun information at this fantastic time of our history?
I'm vitalised, and I'm inspired to set the timer.
And
do it, but the consistency is not there, I have to confess. Yeah.
So but that's the beautiful thing. It's not about an exercise session, because most people say, well, the biggest excuse for not exercising is no time. But the further you get away from zero, the less likely you are to do it. But the further you get away from zero, the less hard your exercise session becomes. So if you've only got 10 seconds to puff, you put a big effort in. Yeah. And that's where diamonds are produced, under pressure. When you put your cardiovascular system under pressure, that's where it gets fitter. So that's the 10 seconds is really important. It's not about trying to do longer. It's about trying to go harder so that you get puffed more. Same with lifting. It's not about doing 27 exercises, 3 sets of 10. It's lift something up off the ground, put it back down again, lift something up, put it back down again, keep going till you can't do any more. Use as many muscles as you can at the same time. And if you can do more than 20, apart from the fact that you'll be bored to tears, obviously that weight's too light. So pick a heavier weight. Pick a classic is a wheelbarrow full of rocks, a suitcase full of books, a bucket full of wet towels. All of those work perfectly. Yeah. That's the simple way to get fit and strong, is to get puffed 4 times an hour and to lift heavy things.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I know this is going to go viral. Yeah, thank you for energising and for reminding me too.
About consistency. You and I together, and I shared with you, I clearly remember that night in 2013 and how, and you and I haven't really connected personally since then, but what's really cool is that when you're on the same wavelength, when it's required, and this is a time when people need to have joy and they need to be fit and they need to be strong and they need to be positive. And this is a beautiful message that we can share with our world, yeah?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
And look, I read an article the other day called The Joy of Living Rooms. And
oh, wow.
How a lot of people create an existing room. Yeah? Yeah. And it doesn't take a big investment of money to invest yourself into your environment. Like I can see a lot of energy in how the area behind you is set up. You know?
Have a look here. This is my favourite one, but I didn't know if that was appropriate. Can you see that?
Oh, nice. Yes. Beautiful. And in closing, I wanted to mention the last video that I saw where you were just talking to camera. There was a little clip of, I saw 2 pigs and a llama, but I understand there's actually more animals in your little home.
Oh, Pat, you've just planted in my brain just then. Don't create a, what did you call it? You create a living room, not just an existing room. That is just pure genius, because that's what people don't get. Their environment is so important.
Yes.
And we call our house, we don't live at a house, we live at the fun farm. So when people come to visit us, we don't say come and visit our house, we say come and visit our fun farm, which automatically puts your headspace in a different space, yeah? So on our fun farm, yes, we have 4 pigs, 4 Cooney pigs. Cooney pigs are literally fat pigs. That's New Zealand for fat pigs, or big fat pigs or something. Yeah. We have 5 llamas. We have a donkey called Dior, and I was hoping that sometime during this chat you would hear him, because he goes like this, Dior, and he makes this awesome noise. And as I shared, when you pat an animal, you put oxytocin into your brain, which again is an immune-fighting chemical. A disease-fighting chemical creates immunity. Yes. So there's a reason for animals. But as you know, every day we laugh because of our animals. They all do something really funny every day. So we're constantly laughing. That's why you have to call it the fun farm. Yes. So if you haven't got a farm though, you could create a virtual reality farm. Yes. You could put pictures of animals on your walls. You could have teddy bears with fur on them. You could literally, because your brain doesn't know the difference, does it, between a real fantasy. So
I advocate for people to find their own laughter icon.
Yes, and
I hadn't planned on using him, but Thomas is mine. My clown persona when I toured with Patch Adams, and Thomas is yes. Say hello to Rowie. Okay.
Oh, he's sitting in your office with you?
Yes. and so he's just a visual of...
Hang on 1 second. I've got one too. So my husband bought me this for Christmas. This is a unicorn, obviously. And as we know, unicorns are mythical creatures. And when you find one, you should capture it and study it. So I would like to dedicate this unicorn. I'm going to call it the Joyologist unicorn. Because you are a unicorn, Pat. You are a unique mythical creature, and we should capture you and study how a woman can create a business and share joy with the rest of the world and call herself a joyologist. You are a unicorn. So polish your little sword there. Woohoo! And may you bring joy and laughter and happiness to everybody in your world. And of course, as you know, when you share it with your world, they share it with their world, and they share it with their world, and it just becomes an ongoing, most beautiful thing. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And have the most glorious weekend. I look forward to talking again soon.
Okay, hang on. No, here's a change of vocabulary. At our house, we don't say weekend, because only weak people have weekends. Okay. Strong people have strong ends. Okay. And we don't call it a week, we call it a strong, because strong people have strongs, not weeks.
Yeah. Thank you.
What a great way to finish off. Woo! May your Mondays be magical, may your Tuesdays be terrific, may your Wednesdays be very well, and your Thursdays be thankful, may your Fridays be a fun day, may your Saturdays be super with 27 O's, may your Sundays be sparkly, because you choose them to be. Woohoo!
Rowie, to be continued.
Absolutely.
My little grandson, when we read a story, he used to say the end, even if it didn't say the end, he would say the end. But now he looks to me and he'll say, "Do you know, this is not the end. So we finished a book, but this is not the end, Nana." So,
isn't your grandson, what's his name?
Lachlan.
Isn't Lachlan lucky to have you as his grandma?
Probably. Thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We've jointly written 5 little books. He's only 7. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool.
All right. So I've got some market research. One of my students is creating a phone app. You know how emojis talk now on the phone?
Yeah.
They actually talk with a facial expression and everything. Well, this guy's a lawyer, but he's creating storybooks with talking emojis that kids can watch on their phone.
Wow.
Now, he's got no kids in his life because he's a grown man and his kids are all grown older. And he lives on the Gold Coast. Could I pass your details on to him? His name's Shane Ellis.
Yes.
Because he would love Lachlan to do some market research for his program. Would that be cool?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. That's awesome. He'll really appreciate it. That's really cool. All right. Well, don't be a stranger, but you never have been, because as I shared with you, you cannot call yourself a joyologist and not be remembered forever. It's just an absolute pleasure and a privilege to have you in my life. Thank you, Pat.
Oh, thank you. And mirror neuron.
Have a wonderful super Easter egg time and eat yumminess. And remember, 4 puffs an hour. I'm going to change it to 4 puffs an hour. Woohoo!
Take a break.
Thanks for taking a break with Pat Armistead.
Take a break.
Join us next time for more.
Take a break.
And be sure to like, share and subscribe for updates. And don't forget to click the bell for notifications. Bye for now.